provide a few remarks about the comparison between La Pléiade and the Library of America. And in fact, for me, it's a debate I've been part of for a very long time, since I knew well a critic, a colleague who was also closely linked to the Library of America, which is Richard Warrior. And Richard and me, we had eternal debates about the competing Faulkners of the Library of America and the Faulkner of the Pléiade. And very often Richard presented me as there is my friend Denis Hollier, who claims that the French Pléiade edition of Faulkner is infinitely better than the one than the one in the Library of America. Of course, the debate was essentially linked to something which I didn't mention. The main difference between those two series today, at least, is that part of the Pléiade editions now, a third of the volume is critical apparatus, various introductions and a lot of notes and notes. I would like, by the way, it has been, since we have mentioned the price of the volume, and I don't know what the prices of the Pléiade can be at Albertine, but
around.
So that's probably the same as in France. But recently, the director, the head of the Pléiade, Hugues Radier, was telling me that in fact the Pléiade, in terms of character, printed character, is the cheapest book in the world. Of course, it means also that you need good glasses to read it, because that critical apparatus is very, very small print. And also I was thinking, listening to the beautiful speech that Paul Auster gave, he defined in a very interesting way, if I can paraphrase him, that the definition of an American writer is somehow linked to the question about what does it mean to be an American writer, what does it mean to be American. I would say that there is also here a big difference maybe between the Library of America and the La Pléiade. I would say that to be a French writer or a French publisher, it means to publish something which is not simply French. La Pléiade is absolutely not the Library of France. And that's been the case from the very beginning. Initially, when the Pléiade series was created by Jacques Schiffen, the first two volumes were in fact Baudelaire and Poe simultaneously. And very, very soon there were a lot of foreign writers, Dostoevsky, Cervantes. So the Pléiade has never been conceived as a canonization of French literature, but it has been, I think, a very important way of stating that France, the literary life in France is linked to something which is in fact, national identity, but more a kind of cosmopolitanism. And right now, the catalogue of the Pléiade is extremely diverse, not only the classical writers from other literature, British, they are republishing a new Jane Austen, American, Russian, German, and so on, but also a lot of Chinese, Japanese philosophy, and also philosophy is now very important in the catalogue of the recent Pléiade volumes. So maybe I'll give a few indications about the history of the Pléiade. And here again, there is, I think, a big difference between the Library of America and the Pléiade. The Pléiade didn't start at Gallimard. It's Jacques Schifrin, when he moved from Russia and moved to Paris and created his édition de la Pléiade. So he was a regular commercial publisher, and now so Gallimard bought les éditions de la Pléiade, and that became la bibliothèque de la Pléiade within the bigger space of Gallimard, but it's still part of a commercial publication, one of the most important literary publishing house in France, and of course it's not an independent. It's not an independent institution like the Library of America, and it is linked to, I guess, the Library of America must too, but it's linked to commercial imperative, and the last two directors of the Pléiade had in fact found an interesting way to overcome the question of the commercial situation, and they publish, generally they publish a bestseller once, let's say, once every 10 volumes is planned as a big bestseller, which means like a kind of an oddity. There are 2 or 3 I remember. I think the first one was, I don't know if you know his name, Simenon, very popular criminal novel writers who wrote, I don't know, many hundreds of books, and to see, Simenon in La Pléiade was, of course, a big surprise or even scandal for some. Then they published the memoir of de Gaulle, and there was some de Gaulle anniversary, and that was also a big way to bring money in the collection. And I think that the last one was Jules Verne. Jules Verne, 2 or 3 years ago, there was also a centennial, and that allows for the Pléiade to publish books which don't sell much. When you publish a book of I don't know, Tibetan monks or whatever, the market is not going to be even I guess what the next volume is going to be the complete works of Virgil, bilingual, Latin and French, and I am not sure that it is going, that everybody in the subway will be reading the Aeneid. So La Pléiade, manages to survive and to publish books which are not really popular because of that those events which are linked to big publicity campaign, and so I was also thinking about a previous event which I found very nice, and I don't know what was really the commercial outcome. It was when Sade, the Marquis de Sade, was introduced in La Pléiade. It's hard to know if Sade is canonized or not. He is canonized, but I think he still gets some kind of transgressive value. And so you know that like more or less the Library of America, the Pléiade volumes are printed on that paper, which is called papier Bible, and the story goes that Jacques Chiffrin, who was a Russian Jew who moved to Paris, was very impressed to see in France, people in the subway, talking about subway, with that book called Le Missel, that religious book of Catholic prayers, which is the Missal, which is printed on that papier Bible. And he really wanted, with the idea of giving a kind of almost ritual dimension to reading, publish his volume on the same paper. So when the first volume of Sade's complete work were published, it was in the fall, in Paris subway, there were big posters everywhere, very elegant, very kind of 19th century, saying, for Christmas, offer, give Marquis de Sade en papier Bible. So essentially, there are two periods in the Pléiade, in the history of the Pléiade. The first period, when it was created by Jacques Chiffrin, and then first bought by Gallimard, then it was close to the Library of America volumes, which was essentially what mattered was to have a text, the definitive text of a work, of a canonized work, and a little preface, generally written by a writer, not by an academic or a critic, and as few notes at the end as possible, and notes that were more about, for a bibliophile, the various editions. And in the mid-50s, the first new volume, the new type of Pléiade, which Pléiade is now, was the complete edition of Jean-Jacques Rousseau, where the text also was also as carefully edited as before, of course, but it became more a critical enterprise, and the footnote became extremely important. And so in the Pléiade catalogue, so the Pléiade catalogue, each book is numbered. I don't know if it is the case in the Library of America. Yeah. So in the catalogue, the first number is still Baudelaire. But Baudelaire has been remade 3 times. The first time it was 2 small volumes. The second time it was 1 huge volume. And now, published I think 20 years ago, it's two huge volumes. So there's an expansion. There is a, over 50 years, a huge expansion of Baudelaire and of others. Well, those are some anecdotes about the Pléiade.